Alright guys, we are back again this year to talk about, since it is the end of the year, talk about my favorite records of the past year. I've listened to a lot of music. I'm going to put how many albums I listened to this year up on the screen right now. Is a lot. I think it's a pretty high number. This is all new records. So I've listened to a lot of stuff, but I narrowed my list down to 22 records since it is the year of 2022 that, I like the most out of all that I listened to. So yeah, let's just get into it. Number 22 on my list, one that, barely scratched its way onto the list, is going to be Future's I Never Liked You. It was a project that I really enjoyed first listen. There's a couple songs that really stood out to me on that project. Like the one with Kanye, Keep It Burnin', is really, really good. But there was not as many tracks that I found myself returning to. That's why it got so kind of low on this list. But I did enjoy it for the songs that I did return to. In my number 21 spot, I put this Freddie Gibbs project, Sold Separately. For this one, I think it was kind of just that Freddie Gibbs has put out a lot better albums than this, and while I think there are highs on this record, there are a couple weird features that kind of aren't really in his lane of art. I know Offset was on it, and a couple other really weird features that I didn't really care for. So because I liked some of the songs a whole lot, the opener is really great on this project, I had to put it kind of low on my list, but I did really enjoy listening to this one this year. Alright, number 20. We're getting into the top 20 here. This is going to be FKA Twigs' CAPRISONGS. This one's really, really pretty. It kept it a lot more lo-fi, and it felt like more of a mixtape opposed to her other previous projects that she's worked on. And I really liked the vibe. I thought that the sort of speaking parts in between each song really made it pretty interesting and, kind of grabbed your attention. There was quite a few tracks that I found myself coming back to again and again on this project. Okay, number 19, Saba's new album, Few Good Things. This one came out, I think, in January this year, so I've had a lot of time to spend with this one, and it was really cool. I thought a lot of the themes Saba dived into on this project were pretty, interesting. I think that if I had listened to this project more this year and it had more of a connection to moments in my life than these ones higher in the list did, I think it would have performed better. But I only think I listened to this one 2 times, revisited it once or twice throughout the whole year. Since it did come out basically almost a year ago in January. I think if it had that replay value, it probably would have been one I'd come back to, but it just wasn't. Alright, number 18, Too Alive by Yeat. Yeat has had a crazy year. This album kind of just kick-started it. Yeat has just, this album was full of big hitters. I think Young Thug, Gunna, Ken Carson, Lancey, Foux. He had so many features on this thing, it's hard to even list all of them. I did prefer it over his EP that came out later in the year, Life, which I did enjoy, but I kind of wanted to limit this list down to one album per artist. So I think that out of the 2 Yeat projects, Too Alive is the strongest that he came out with this year. And for my number 17 pick, I went with ASAP Lil Black Jean Jacket 3, which was a project I didn't really expect to make this list, but there was just a couple songs off here that throughout the years I checked up on my top most listened songs of the month. They were consistently on there, 3 AM in New Orleans with Currency. That is probably one of my favorite songs of the whole year. There's a track with Lil B on here that I really like, and of course The God Hour with A$AP Rocky, which is just phenomenal. This was probably the most left field pick on my list, and I'm glad it got to make it here and it got a little bit of representation. Alright, after that, at 16, we have the collaboration effort between Bladee and Echo 2K with Crest. I think I've heard most of Blade's discography. So I think he has done a lot of heavy hitting like trap projects in the past. But I think that he's really, with this project and the other one he came out with this year, Spider, he's really starting to hit his stride with what he can make, work musically for him. And I think this project definitely deserved a spot here. Eka 2K also with the great vocal performance here. Just a solid project. And then in our 14th spot, I have Lancey Foux' Life in Hell. I think that for a long time, Lancey has kind of just been called, a British Playboy Cardi, and I think that with the release of this Life in Hell project, I think he was kind of stepping away from those comparisons, and I don't think you can really draw that from him anymore. With these like long instrumental pieces and like loud crooning vocals, I don't think that that's anything Cardi would do anymore, and I'm really glad that he was able to set himself apart from Cardi with this. And I think my favorite track on this one is probably this song, World on Fire. Had maybe one of my favorite beat drops and just beats in general of possibly the entire year. That is an amazing song. 13. We're getting close to the top 10. This is Aethiopes by Billy Woods. Billy Woods is half of the rap collective Arm & Hammer with Elucid. His other project, Church, this year was really good, but I just think that Church didn't really have the replayability or vocal themes that Aethiopes did. It wasn't as powerful, so I didn't really feel like putting it up, even though when I reviewed both of them, I think that Church on my Instagram account, which if you don't follow at August.L Music, go ahead and do that. I think I scored Church way higher, and I think it probably would have been sitting around the 5 spot if we were going just off of scores, off of initial reaction. But I think that Aethiopes had a lot more standing power and replayability for me. Alright, number 12, we have Lil Uzi Vert's Red and White EP. This is the lead up to his project that's probably going to come out early next year, the Pink Tape, and I'm very excited for that one. This Red and White EP was a just phenomenal showing of what Uzi was capable of. A lot of people were really dissatisfied. I mean, I like Eternal Take from 2020, but I know a lot of people really didn't, and I think I saw a lot of old, gatekeepy, only old Uzi's good Uzi fans really connect with this project, which shows that, he's kind of getting back in the game, just cementing himself as one of the biggest hitters in hip-hop, as he has been for probably the last half-decade. Alright, this album didn't edge into my top 10. This is Nigo's I Know Nigo, kind of a tongue twister, but yeah, this project, Nigo, a famous, one of the founders of Bathing Ape, coming together with this executively produced, almost DJ Khaled style project that I didn't know I was going to love so much. It has so many amazing features. Lil Uzi, A$AP Rocky, Pusha T, A$AP Ferg, Pharrell is on, obviously helped produce almost all these tracks. Gunna, that is just an amazing project. Alright, we have reached my top 10. These are my top 10 records of the year. We have I Didn't Mean to Haunt You by Quadeca. Quadeca, I've always found, I kept him off of my top 21 list last year on this channel because I still felt like he was kind of pretty deeply connected to that sort of corny YouTuber rapper persona that he had with that project. I believe it was called From Me to You. And I think with this one he is just completely broken away from that. This is my one complaint with this project would be it's kind of hard to understand what he's saying, especially when a lot of the lyrics are kind of like cipherized, like poetry, not even lyrics, and the vocal disruption makes it hard to understand, but still there's so many emotional, hard-hitting moments on this project and just beautiful landscapes that he paints with the music. It's just a great project, and anything on this list I recommend you to listen to, but especially if you only have time for 10 records, listen to these top 10 that I have here. Alright, number 9, we have redveil's Learn to Swim. Redveil is a person who is around my age, which is crazy to think about. I believe he was born in 2004, I was born in 2005, so we're right up there together. He just came through with this absolutely beautiful project that I've seen nothing but praise for, which I wasn't really expecting. Like, I listen to this and I'm like, okay, this is going to be like an underground classic or something, but I've seen big, like, streaming services and like music blogs putting him in their top 10, which is it's amazing to see that. I've been following redveil for about a year at this point, and getting to see this blow up for him has just been pretty awesome. And this project absolutely delivered. He deserves every bit of praise that he's getting now. Alright, number 8, we have Carson's X. I really liked a lot about this project. This was probably my most listened new album of the year by a pretty large margin. I think this project, one of its issues is its length. I think 24 tracks, I think half of them could have easily been cut, but the other half that are on here are just all phenomenal. I think that it definitely deserves to be up this high. And at 7, we have Pusha T's It's Almost Dry. The Kanye and Pharrell production on this album is just phenomenal. I think that, even though I didn't think it was possible, I think Pusha T has reached the highs he got to with 2018's Daytona, which is very impressive. I honestly didn't expect it out of him. You know, I mean, he is such a great rapper, but every single song here, like Neck and Wrist, Diet Coke, Rock and Roll, actually, yeah, Rock and Roll is one of the weaker ones, but even one of the weaker ones, like Rock and Roll, with Cudi and Kanye, hits super hard. Just a really, really, really great project. At my number 6 spot, we have Destroy Lonely's No Stylist. For the two, out of all the Opium projects that released this year, I think that Destroy Lonely's No Stylist was just a little bit better than X by Carson. I mean, I enjoyed both of them a lot, but this one, just the mood and atmosphere isn't really there on X the way it is on No Stylist. You can feel the environment and vibe that Lone was going for when he made this. The creative vision is just insane with this project. Alright, now we are on to my top 5. We have Gemini Rights by Steve Lacy here. I think Steve Lacy easily hit his best project that he's done to this day. With Gemini Rights, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal record. Yeah, I mean, how could you not love it? I mean, the only thing that kind of put it down so low, it would probably be around the 3 range if it weren't for a album that was by sort of a R&B singer-songwriter who plays the guitar, was not higher. I think this project kind of fell out of rotation once that one came out, but we won't get to that yet. But other than that, I think that there's not a bad track on this record. I think maybe you could do without the interlude and the freestyle, but I mean, those are key parts to the narrative of the story. Everything else was kind of pretty much just on loop for me constantly all year. And for number 4, we have Earl Sweatshirt's Sick. I remember this one coming out, I believe it was the second week of the year, and I was already giving it so much praise. I gave it a 9.5 on my Instagram account, and I remember people saying, oh, you're overrating it, you're overrating it, you're overrating it. I think that this record holds up. It's super tight at 20 minutes. There's not a single miss on this project. Earl Sweatshirt, probably my favorite rapper of all time. He's just such a lyrical and instrumental genius. I mean, the beats he chose on this project, just all amazing. I think Vision was the loopers on this project. Might be my favorite song of the year. Unironically, that's probably the best thing that's come out all year. Just absolutely amazing. Earl is one of the only people I can think of, if not the only person, to make an album themed around the pandemic and not make it ham-fisted and corny. Alright, number 3, we have Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Honestly, this record was just so great. I remember listening to it. It's obviously been such a long wait. since Kendrick released anything, but wow, did he deliver with this project. From just absolutely hard tracks like N95 to like extremely sad songs like Mother I Sober with Beth Gibbons. This is just all around just such a great and atmospheric project that I don't feel like is getting enough love. Like, I know a lot of people really love Damn, his last project in 2017, but I think by a pretty wide margin this album wipes the floor with that one. My number 2 is Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. This is one of Denzel's best produced projects. Talk about atmosphere. This album like feels like you're living in an anime or in like an old vintage Jackie Chan movie. There's really not much bad I could say about this project. I mean, there are a few, like maybe one song that I didn't really care for. That being, I think John Wayne on this project is not great, but everything else is like goddamn near flawless. Like, how do you even come up with something this great? I think that this new step of like kind of an R&B like vibe, especially with that live deluxe he released this project, is a perfect step for Denzel. And while I don't think it quite hits the highs that he was reaching with projects like Taboo, this probably is my second favorite Denzel project. And then for my number 1, I think this was a pretty easy choice for me. On my account, out of all the albums I reviewed this year, this was the only one that got a perfect 10 out of 10 score. So if you have been keeping up with my account, you would probably know that I would easily rate this in, honestly, my top 5 records of all time. This one kind of wiped the floor with everything else for me. This is Gene Dawson's Chaos Now. I think that every single second of this project, there's not a single weak moment. I don't think there's a single thing that he could have done better. Straight from the opening track that's just titled The Asterisk, which is 12 seconds long, to the end with Pirate Radio, there's so much raw emotion and just love and care poured into this project. Gene had a vision when he made this, and he didn't let anyone get in the way of it. The features that are on this thing, where they are few and far between, features like Earl Sweatshirt's performance on Bad Fruit are just absolutely amazing. I don't think any other album could have deserved the number 1 spot as this one did. Thank y'all so much for watching. That's another year in the books, 2022. If you haven't seen it, go watch my 2021 ranking. I definitely don't think that it's my feelings towards that ranking are still reflect my personal beliefs on what were the best records of 2021. But I think it's fun. I think I'll probably continue coming on here and giving y'all my favorite records of the year. I know I don't really put anything out on here anymore, but you know, this was a whole lot of fun, especially when I dedicated a lot of my year to listening to this music. It was really great to kind of wrap it up with a bow and, you know, rank every single thing that I listened to this year. Well, I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good one.